Hey, what's going on everyone? And today I wanted to do an in-depth video review for the ALORAIR Storm LGR Extreme Dehumidifier. So in this video I'm just going to walk you through some of the settings on the dehumidifier. We're going to take a look at the manual, and then I'm also going to show you a use case where I'm actually using this dehumidifier after a recent flood incident. So first off, when you open the packaging on this, you'll notice that there's actually a quick connect guide to actually connect the device itself to Wi-Fi. There's fairly simple instructions. You essentially sign up, make an account, you select your dehumidifier, and then you turn your Wi-Fi hotspot on the device to off, follow the device settings, and then essentially you go through, you'll see a Wi-Fi icon, and then you're able to connect the app and utilize the device to actually monitor humidity, set changes, and things like that, all directly within a phone app right on your phone. So that's actually one of the really cool features of this. You have a couple extra pieces here it comes with as needed for connection inlet hoses here. This is basically the user manual. We'll go through that in a minute. And then it does also come with a warranty registration card. Now on the top of this, you will find there's going to be a hose wrapped up on this piece here. This is essentially this connecting hose. This way you can actually drain any of the humidity, the water that's building from this out through this hose. I actually ran this all the way through, and I was going to put it out through my backyard here, but I have a door that's pretty tight, so it's going to make it difficult. For now, I'm draining it into a bin, and I'm going to let it run on continuous run, and I'll just periodically check this every day, and I can easily take this and empty it right out into my backwoods there. Beyond that, you have several options that this thing can actually do. There will be there's a bracket actually installed here that'll prevent damage in shipping. You have your fan here from the actual dehumidifier on the side. It just has the ALORAIR branding here, and you actually have an extremely long power cable, which I really like. You can see it's also lit up when plugged in, so they really thought of everything in terms of use cases for this. If you really needed to reach this, you're not going to need to necessarily utilize an extension cord. You also have these two large straps here, so it's easy to transport. And you can also stack these on top of one another, which is basically why it has this design. So if you had multiples of these, you're going to go use a ton of them in one space, you could basically stack them and load them into a truck very easily. Now, going with the unit options itself, by default here you can see that it shows the units on. It'll kind of give an inlet temperature. I have it in Celsius, shows 66%. This is the icon for the Wi-Fi connectivity, which I haven't fully set up yet. You can do a manual drain here with this button. This is basically your power on or off. This is your menu button, and then you kind of use this as like your select button. So if we go through the menu, you can reset the job hours. So maybe you had these on a specific job for a certain amount of time. This will allow you to take a look at how many hours it was running, and you could reset that as needed. You also have life hours. This cannot be reset. This is essentially the total time. I just recently set this up. Out of the box, I believe it was running for about an hour, and I've now had it running for roughly 20 minutes or so. So that essentially shows you the lifelong time it's been running. Now we also have our inlet temperature here, so you can see 19 degrees, outlet 28 degrees, 32%. So it kind of gives you some idea of what to expect there. You have your Wi-Fi hotspot. You can turn that on or off. This now shows your humidistat set point. So I did 45%. There's obviously different ranges here, but that's generally a comfortable humidity level. Giving you some idea as well, I'll kind of continue through this and I'll give you some idea of the circumstances here. Temp units, you can do Celsius, Fahrenheit, and then change your language settings. And this also shows the coil temperature, the compressor current, the grain DPR, which currently is 0.70 GPP. I believe this can go up to 180. And then you can also set the name of the unit, so if you wanted to change this, you have that option. And then this just goes back to the main settings here. So fairly straightforward in terms of setting everything up and running it. Now, I wanted to show you my space here and kind of what happened. We recently were affected in my city by torrential downpours. We had extreme flood rain, and I found out from the past owners of this particular property, this was built in 1920. They had water damage down here that was previously something that was a huge problem. They only had addressed it by simply removing floors and replacing those floors. And I decided to remove some of the drywall. I was going to have mold remediation companies come in. This is me talking as a residential homeowner, not actually like a mold remediator. I had some people come in and remove the drywall, at least roughly a foot or so off the ground to remove any affected drywall. You can see, you know, some of the wood here is a little discolored, so it's hard to tell, but I can almost guarantee this previously, like here, probably was affected by water damage. You can even see some discoloration here. This wood all affected by water damage, so some of that's going to have to get removed. But ultimately, as I started to remove the walls, we found the old fieldstone was in pretty bad shape. But initially, upon the first part of the flood here, we had 5 inches of water fill this entire space. There was groundwater coming in from all the cracks in the fieldstone, literal grass we saw coming in, old weeds and stuff. So this was in pretty bad condition. So it's pretty much a given that I should have a humidifier. I had this small one which would really fill up quite quickly, so I decided to get something a little more heavy duty because I wanted something that I could not only run consistently but also have a little bit more monitoring usage over with the Wi-Fi functionality, and also have something where if I, for whatever reason, needed to move this around or use it in another space, I'd have the option to do so. I will also give you, I have a smart electric panel down here, and I can actually show you how much power usage a single one of these is using, just to give you some idea based on my electric panel usage. So if I check out the activity on my panel, this actually just shows kind of usage for each of these, and it might take a second to come in here, but as you can see, this is the basement plug near the stairs. So it runs at about 550 watts, so fairly standard for what you might expect if you were you know, running one of these. It's going to use a good amount of power, but nothing crazy, right? Like a traditional space heater might be like 1500 watts. This is only using a small fraction of that. So not too bad in terms of power usage, but it will probably put a little bit of a strain on electric bill if you were running multiples of these or running it 24/7. Anyway, thought I would give you some idea of what to expect with the unit, but overall, so far I'm happy with these. You can also get them in different colors. They have them many various different colors. There are other variations. You can get some that have like wheels and can be rolled around, but this is definitely a higher end model that's going to be really efficient if you're just looking to clear out a space and get the humidity levels down. Especially good for an area like this where we recently had flood damage, and you know, we're wanting to make sure the humidity levels stay at reasonable percentages. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video review. Hopefully you found this really helpful, and I will talk to you later.